Say, all glory be to him. Pray for forgiveness for those of us who've done wrong, so we can start afresh and atone for our wrongs. I'm Christ Sample. You're watching my channel. This channel is sponsored by LIVE Products. LIVE, live now, we're live now. We have a line of drinks, punches, and cleaning products. If you want to order, you can call this number in the Trinidad and Tobago area because I'm from Trinidad. Unfortunately, we're not regional and international yet. 319-4788. Go for it. Let's get into what we're going to talk about today. As you can see, we'll talk a little bit about Restore the Snyderverse, but we're also going to talk about a lot of things. But first of all, here's some fan art of Henry Cavill's Man of Steel. Fans did this. This is incredible. I'm not going to lie to you. A fan did this. Beautiful, isn't it? Your creativity, you're the ones that are the producers. The higher ups, the business people, the higher ups, they take advantage of the creative talent that's out here. Because you're very gifted, all of you that are doing this. This is just fantastic, and that's why we want to have the competition. Right now, I'm showcasing all the beautiful art. You can find this on Twitter as well. You can see the authors. They have their insignias in the corners of their art. Okay, so isn't this beautiful? I'm telling you. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about a gentleman named Tolkien, who's the one who did some of the famous, fairy tales or fables. Aesop's fables always had an interesting teaching point. And yesterday I was talking a little bit about Batman and about Zack Snyder and, how, children need to be taught things. They need to learn things. It's not just trying to, cozy up to them and pamper them, And we see that a lot today in today's world. Instead, trying to subversively teach them a lot of really weird, abnormal things, a lot of evil things, to be quite frank. And that's the world we live in today. All of these are fan art. Well, this is not fan art. This is Iron Studios here. This one is, I believe it's Prime One Studios. Great stuff, though. Again, a fan did this. Oh, I love this one. This one's really good. This was done by Nimish Nyomal. Look at that. Oh, man. Really well done. And I think those are all examples of digital art. This looks almost like a comic book, Man of Steel. And it's showing different aspects of the movie here. This is Kal-El's birth and Krypton. General Zod, Feyre Earl. You see the Smallville trademark thing there. The Superman and Lewis here. There's Cal, or should I say Clark Kent when he was younger, foreshadowing what he would become. I believe that's his parents watching him, Jonathan and Martha Kent. This is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. I love it. Lex Luthor here is using Batman to try and get at Superman, which everyone thinks is a false god. That's their understanding of it. And there's Wonder Woman in the background. Ra's al Ghul did this. Seems like an Indian homie. Really great. Oh, this is just, look at this. This is just fantastic, isn't it? So they use Superman's cape to give the backdrop of the story. And he's up there with the birds. And again, this is Razanul. Beautiful work by Razanul. Man of Steel, and he uses a quote from it: "In time, you will help them accomplish wonders." You see Jor-El there with Lara holding little Clark. You see the Kryptonian ships, and you see Clark's ship leaving there. You see Jonathan and Martha Kent. You see Louis Lane. You see General Zod. You see Feyre Earl. You see the destruction. It's just fantastic stuff. The destruction of Krypton, that is. Clouds and Superman soaring into the sky. This is great stuff. Great stuff. Great stuff. Okay, I don't know who that is. Okay, I see it. This is Daikazu, DeviantArt.com. It looks like AG is the author of this one. This is also fantastic stuff. That's the fine art, people. Fan art. This is PB, I think, Patrick Brown. Tremendous stuff. And this is what you bring to the table. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, this is great. This is with the World Engine. And here's Clark, he's summoning all his strength so that he doesn't get flattened onto the base of the seafloor. He's taking the might of the World Engine. This is so incredible. Literally, the world is upon his shoulders. A biblical concept. Man of Steel. By the way, the person who did this, his name is KP. Kyle. Not too sure what that other name is. It's Kyle. He did it in 2020. Same Kyle. This is in 2017. Brilliant stuff. And this is just iconic. You see Superman there. Cedric Pouillat is the one that did this. Man of Steel. All right. I wanted to show you this art first because it's kind of interesting, but I've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Sammy on Twitter, she said, "I'm so sick of seeing AI art shared with Snyderverse hashtags. So here is some real art from some real artists. You have Mariano N. Navarro and Cabrera Color. You can go check out their channels. But here's some stuff from them. Now, this is not necessarily this is just a collector of Zack Snyder's works. Dawn of the Dead, 300, Watchmen. This is Mariano Navarro and Cabrera. They did it in 2023. Dawn of the Dead, Watchmen, Legend of the Guardians of the Owls of Galu, Sucker Punch, Man of Steel. So all of Zack Snyder's stuff that he's done so far. And, this here is Cora. You see her shooting a gun. She has an axe in her hand. She's leaping through the air. This is, of course, the great dark side, Superman, Batman, you see there. All right. Then you got Watchmen, which is Dr. Manhattan right there. The Owls of Ga'Hoole, you can see the owl there. Or it looks like Sucker Punch. She's shooting with a gun and a sword in her hand. What looks like, I don't know if this is, I think this is Dawn of the Dead with the lady with the gun shooting there. Then you see Army of the Dead is up on top there. Army of the Dead is up on top of there. And you see 300 with the Spartan. I'm not sure who Just faces, however. It shows the faces. Now, Mariana Navarro is a really great artist. We have some great artists among us. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Mikir Madness. He's another one. Um, I believe this is his stuff here. Yep, Mikir Madness. And again, you have a Spartan, you have Watchmen, you have Wonder Woman, you have Army of the Dead, Rebel Moon, the Jimmy there. You see Superman in the background holding Justice League's film. And I guess that's Zach with the camera there, holding watching a butterfly. And if you look in the corner there, you'll see Olive Garhul. See Watchmen with all the clocks and stuff. And Sucker Punch is on the opposite side of Zach. Oh, this is fantastic. You got Batman there, Wonder Woman, and Superman. This is that Trinity, the Trinity, that Trinity, or that Trinity. And finally, you have Me Guevara 03, Batman, Joker, Deathstroke, Wonder Woman, The Flash when he's reversing time, Aquaman, Superman, Cyborg. Of course, we also have in that movie to be seen potential The Atom. We have Martian Manhunter. We have the Spectre. Some of the additional people in that movie that, you know. Also had Mira. So she kind of is continuing what I was doing, which is highlighting the fan art. And I would suggest to anybody, I don't know if she saw my videos or anything, but maybe she's in the same spirit, or maybe she follows me. So maybe she saw what I was doing and decided to jump in and do that. But in the spirit of being not just positive, but just having momentum to go forward instead of kind of, you know, deflecting off and looking at what people are negatively saying and commenting on that. You know, it's better to kind of look forward, look ahead, and be positive and progressive about things, you know. We're in a long weekend, a very long weekend in which, if I'm not mistaken, this weekend is a long weekend which ends with Eid al-Fitr, which is at the end of the month of Ramadan. That will be on Monday. And for me, in my country of Trinidad and Tobago, we're also going to celebrate on the Tuesday, Spiritual Baptist holiday. So we have Spiritual Baptist and we also have Eid al-Fitr. So it's a very long weekend for me. And I'm going to go out and sell because this is the time when I'll make most money. It's the end of the month. And I just want to say to each and every one of you guys out there that, you know, what's going on in the world today, I want you to speak out. You have power. You have a lot of say. And I'm going to show you a lot of examples of that. I want you to be empowered. To the people of Palestine, anybody in Palestine who's right now, somehow you have your Wi-Fi or whatever you have, you're able to see this video. I want to encourage you that, yes, you need to survive. You need to stay alive. Yes, you need to eat food of what kind, whatever you can get to eat, you eat. But ultimately, in the end, you know, we understand now, it's all exposed in the open what Israel is about. Israel, this nation of Israel that was formed is for the so-called Jewish people. Most of them are not Jewish, but whatever. They're Jewish, but they're not, generational, Jews for thousands of years. The genealogy doesn't go thousands of years. Anyway, it's besides the point. The Jews want to rule the world. they have managed to move themselves up into society, and they feel like they're always influential aspects of different governments, and they decide they're going to rule the world. But the way how they are trying to rule the world, supposedly supposed to usher in this world of peace, but the world of peace that they talk about is extremely racist and white supremacist towards people who are aged, ill, mentally challenged, or have other infirmities. I want to say that these people are very satanic, who are trying, the master plan is to actually get rid of the bulk of us. It's like a farm. They think of us as meat. So they're going to feed us to the aliens, and they're going to kill most of us, and the others they're going to enslave. They call us Goyim, and the Goyim will serve them. All right. But according to scripture, let me just go to it and show you. According to scripture, my friends, it says this: Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews, but are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them come and worship before your feet, and to know that I have loved thee. See, Revelation exposes that these people, my friends, who are the apostate, they are the apostasy. This is the revelation according to the Bible, at least. These are the apostates right now. And the way how they're moving is very draconian because everything has been exposed and the populace is going to get aware of it. So they're trying to move ahead of us and they're trying to target us and get rid of us. They all worship Satan, by the way, these people. This is why everything is satanic that they do. It's very destructive. It's very anti-human because Satan doesn't love human beings. He hates that God's creation even exists. He deceived Eve to cause humanity to fall for the reason that he hated the creation that God had. He hates God and he hates his creation. And so Satan is as a roaring lion moving about seeking who he may devour. And it's just ironic that they try to say that Israel is the lion of Judah. Yeah, but you say the lion of Judah. Now, there's two types of Judah. There's Judah that betrayed Christ. And then there's Yahudah, which is what King David brought about. So there are two types of lions. There's the roaring lion that roars about and devours whoever he can devour. And then there's the roaring lion that roars about, that brings praise, and he does the opposite of the other lion. Instead of devouring, he's looking to give life. Okay, now I believe Jesus is that lion of Judah that gives life and rules in glory. That's just my personal belief as a Christian. Whereas the roaring lion that goes about seeking whom he devours because he has a limited time. He knows that he's on a clock. Now, I'm not saying that we are going to change history in that, we're going to stop the events that are supposed to happen from happening. But I will tell you this. The nation of Israel that they're trying to centralize their power in, these Kabbalah people, these devil worshipers, these worshipers of aliens that are here to destroy us and kill us and feed off of us, I'm here to tell you that we can stop them because we have the numbers. And when we have exposed them, already most of the world is with us. And I will show you the evidence for that. But I suffice it to say that these people, this synagogue of Satan, these Kabbalists, I am here to tell you that we can overthrow them and we can stop them. They still depend on us for labor. They still depend on us to purchase their goods and services. They still feed off of us. Right now, Khalil, the young lady from Turkey, and the young lady from China. Well, the young lady from China, I think she's still at large. They haven't abducted her yet. They're probably hiding her. But these two, Khalil and the other lady, I'm sure there's several others that are not as high profile that have been abducted. The PhD student from Turkey and Khalil, you see how they move. They said they revoked their visas. You have to have grounds to revoke someone's visa. You can't just revoke their visa. That's illegal. They have to commit a crime. Neither the PhD student nor Khalil have committed any crime. We'll talk more about that. See, they know they don't have the legal grounds or the moral grounds, but more importantly, they don't have the legal grounds. And while people are talking about this is the start of fascism, which is very correct, it can be stopped. We can stop it. We can't stop it indefinitely because their agenda is not dependent on whether they have a country or not, a center of power. They have conspired with most of the Western European nations and the West, period. They have allies in Australia in high places. They have allies in the UK in high places. Germany, of course, in high places. That place, I forgot what the name of it is. In high places, they have people. In the US, etc. They're in key positions in high places. But it is all dependent on you accepting that. You can do nothing. You put them there. Whether it's through deception or not, you put them there. And you outnumber them by orders of magnitude. I've told you the procedure to take them down. They must listen to you still. They don't have the capacity still. They don't have the machinery still to replace you. The moment they replace you, they will feed you to the aliens. Your organs will be donated. Michael Jackson said it, and he's right. They don't care about us. They never did. They're using us. Okay, I want to show you a couple of things. So it's kind of becoming busted open, very obvious that the United States government is doing Israel's bidding, both inside the United States against its own people and also against people in other countries which the U.S. has no business being in. Here's another black Palestinian, just in case you think there are no black Palestinians there. Here's my girl Blakey. She's on the street of Brooklyn saying, "Free Mahmoud Khalil." She's 100% correct. She is Jewish, by the way. Blakey's a Jew. Now, lest you guys think that, okay, so there's a couple of things you need to understand. As I said before, anybody just blanketly saying all the Jews are this and that, you're not being fair. That's like saying all black people are this. I know Jews are more of a religion than they are still a people, but they're not necessarily a race. You know, they're a culture. They're a culture. That's what you could say. Now, I want to make it clear that Blakey is standing up, and she's on the right side of history. And now more than ever, the face of America looks like, you know, dum dum da dum dum da dum dum da dum that George Lucas was talking about. Captain Dan Hanley is back on Twitter. Get him hell, Captain Dan Hanley. Get him hell. It's another black Palestinian and his family in Palestine. Yes, you have black Palestinians in Palestine. See, a lot of y'all don't know a lot of things about Palestine. So that's why I said there's all kinds of people up in Palestine, y'all. All kinds of people up in Palestine. Dr. Hamza, who's working in his makeshift hospital in Palestine, shout out to him. He could be easily a target, so I don't want to dwell on him too long. I want to dwell on these people for donations. Think about him. If you can donate to him, go on Twitter, check out his account. And check out Ahmed as well. I love this. I love this. From Jesus Christ to Gaza, they have been killing Palestinians for longer than you know. I refuse to call the killers of Christ our greatest ally. They are not. That's true, my friend. By the way, Noctis Draven, shout out to you, brother. You're a true patriot. You're a true patriot. I'm not American, but I can tell you right now, a true patriot is someone who has love for his people. But I can tell that Noctis Draven has love for all people. He represents, in my opinion, true American values. He is a true American. I'm sure he would also feel for the Native Americans, which were wiped out by these genocidal maniacs who have the same mindset as the genocidal maniacs in Israel. Ivan Kilgo says Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is about to sync the image of MAGA and Trump administration with the sex scandal. Get ready for a wild ride. No, he's not. That's not going to happen, I don't think. I know they want to put it out in the media, but it's not going to happen. And the reason it's not going to happen is because he's very loyal Zionist to Israel. Once he keeps and toes the line, that's not going to happen. The person who he's supposed to have a sex scandal with, she's an Israeli spy, by the way. Abby Martin is correct. Israel's propaganda failed, and the youth are waking up worldwide. Well, let's listen.
And if Israel, I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'm unapologetic about my stance. And I'm very ashamed of my colleagues at their complicity and silence, especially in the wake of so many Palestinian journalists getting murdered. Millions of young people in the U.S. have been radicalized by this genocide. If you look just at the American Jews who are teenagers, there was a poll that came out that said 20% of young American Jews sympathize with Hamas. I mean, that's an incredible statistic. 25% of American Jews are anti-Zionist. The youth is changed forever from witnessing these war crimes. They are watching Palestinians dictate for the first time their reality on social media instead of looking at legacy publications to tell them lies about what their government says and just repeating Zionist propaganda. And so I'm incredibly optimistic about the youth. We see them taking a stand in the street, risking arrest. They see that they have no future. They're crippled with debt. They see the effects of climate change. And then now they see this genocide. And if Israel's allowed to get away with this, I think they realize what's next for me. What's next for the world? I do believe that the liberation of Palestine will be in our lifetime, because now we've been on the defense for the last 20 years explaining ourselves why it's not anti-Semitic to criticize an apartheid state. And I think now the narrative has completely flipped on its head. Human rights organizations around the world who liberals revere, even Israeli human rights organizations, have declared that Israel is an apartheid state committing genocide.
Yep.
I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'm unapologetic.
So, a couple things she said there, which was very interesting. The next generation, Generation Z, I'm very proud of them, like I said before in the last video. They have nothing to lose. See, they're in the same position as the Palestinians in this sense. They can't see their way with a future. They're going to college, and then what happens after college? Where do they get a job? Where do they get work? Conditions are getting worse and worse in America. Homelessness is more and more in America. And this is not a new topic, by the way. Stokely Carmichael, or Kwame Ture, as you all know him, Trinidadian, who was very integral part of the Black Power movement. In fact, Trinidadians have been involved in a lot of very important events in the history of the world. We are not one of those people who toot our own horns, but we are always usually on the right side of history when it comes to pushing certain things. And he said, homelessness, they can get rid of all these wars out there, and they can get people into homes. They can get people jobs. They can make the world a better place, quite frankly. There's so much information out there. I'm just going to just throw this out there to you guys that, if you look, the only nation on earth that has military bases all over the world, surrounding certain countries, is the United States of America. To the extent to which they have stretched themselves thin with that. And the reason that infrastructure is in place, even though it's kind of rusty and they're probably upgrading it right now, is because Israel, or at least the people who support Israel, whether it be Zionists or whether it be Jewish Zionists, have been pushing that. This is not arbitrarily. This is not arbitrary at all. The infrastructure is put in place so that Israel can enact that infrastructure. In Lebanon, there's this huge base of operations that the United States is building. You ask yourself why? Because they want to control the Middle East through Lebanon. It's all about control. It's not about policing the world. That's bullshit. Okay, well, yeah, you know what? I'll use that word, policing the world. Because police, as we all know, as we found out in the history of policing, that's where it began on the slave plantations. I don't know if you guys know that it was so-called Jewish people who sold the slaves into slavery. They worked with Europe, and they sold human trafficking. Hasn't, it's a long time thing with these people. Pedophilia is a long time thing with these people. In fact, Germany was corrupted by them. There's so much that this synagogue of Satan has done since the days of the disciples and the apostles, how they were able to charm Rome into eventually killing Paul, exiling John. They have a history. It's not the Jewish people, because the apostles themselves were Jewish people. The disciples were Jewish people. No. It's the spirit of Judas, always trying to optimize that dollar, make myself better. It's that same spirit we have at the heads of our government, filling and lining their pockets. They don't care about the people. They're hirelings. The spirit of Judas, aka Judah, the dark side. Okay, I got a lot to go through, and I don't have the time to do it. We're already half an hour in here. I can't finish this all off. So I'm gonna try, and I have to go and do other things through my day. Maybe I'll do part 2 this afternoon if God allows me to do so. There's a reason I have so much urgency in my voice speaking about these things. It's so important that I do these videos today. The urgency is because I know what's coming. And we have to, regardless of what religious faith you have, regardless of what cultural background you have to see the landscape is changing, and it's changing rapidly. This stuff could be wrapped up in 5 years. The stakes are very high. It may not look that way right now, but everything has been accelerated. And that's why I feel it's so important for me to just talk about this morning, so that you could be up to speed and you could accelerate with it. And you can match them, because they're no match for you. How can I say this? You are 8 billion strong if you will just come together. The right and the left. The Jew, the Muslim, the Christian, the Buddhist. The people in the ghettos and the rich people on high. Against this wicked cabal. You can stop them. You can save the planet. Even if it is for a moment, you can do it. I want to show you something. because I don't have the time. Time is not my friend today. Let me see if I can find it first. Israel exposed. They have downloaded a link for anybody. There's a torrent of 300 plus gigabytes of war crimes footage from Gaza and the West Bank. The war crimes just keep on compiling. So there's that. Osama Abu Rabi, shout out to you, brother. Stay alive. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing, brother. You have to keep on going, no matter what. The price of freedom now and freedom for the world hangs on this. And they're working like a mother, but we can't stop them. We have everything it takes to stop them. Okay, I gotta find this. Oh, here's a little fact. A staggering 66% of Jewish Israelis are allergic to pollen from olive trees. Tell me it's not your land without telling me it's not your land. How could they be allergic to pollen from pollen trees? If you're endemic to the region, you wouldn't be. Pollen trees, olive trees have been everywhere. What they call Jewish Israelis, they're Khazarians. They're really Europeans. They're not even. They have not a drop of Jewish blood in them. They've been converted. I know Judaism is a religion. I know you can become a Jew through conversion. They are converts. Most of these people who come from European countries, that's why they have European surnames. They're converts. They say they're Ashkenazi Jews because Ashkenaz. But Ashkenaz was never a Jew. Ashkenaz was one of the descendants of Japheth. Japheth. Go read Genesis chapter 10. The Shemites, which we call the Semites, were descendants of Shem. We talk about Semitic peoples. We say they're Arabs and they speak Aramaic and Arabic and Hebrew. Okay. But the truth is, make this make sense. Just think about it. If you've been existing around that particular part of the world, which they sometimes call the Middle East, they call it West Asia. If you've been there for generations upon generations upon generations, for millennia upon millennia, you're either one of several things. You're either a Canaanite descendant, you're either a Semite, or you are a descendant of Japheth, right? You're Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Canaanites are descendants of Ham, right? You got Egypt. The Egyptians are descendants of Ham. Did you guys know that? Black people are not descendants of Ham. Black people can be descendants of all kinds of things. And remember, genealogy goes through the father's line, not through the mother's. So if your father was European blood, it doesn't really matter what your mother was. That's how genealogy works, at least biblically speaking. We didn't say that Jesus was the son of, no, he was the son of this man and the son of that man and the son of that man and so on and so on. Genealogy runs through your father's line. Don't give a damn about your mother's line. But of course, you can do DNA testing as well to see if there's anything in anywhere. All right, so that's point number one. Let's keep it moving. Now, I hope you guys can. I'm not going to go into all this stuff here. I'm just going to keep it moving. Candace Owen said some stuff, so let's just get it from Candace.
Little goblins. You operate all in the dark. You lie. Frauds. You are all frauds. And you're going to get exposed. I'm telling you, one by one, you're going to get exposed because you're pissing me off now.
Already
okay?
exposed.
I spent all of 2024 having to fight you guys. You're like disgusting little goblins. You operate all in the dark. You lie. It's you lie like some people breathe. Genuinely, these people lie like I breathe. It's just natural. It's just like their lungs expand and a lie comes out. And there's a network of that. And Meghan McCain and Ben Dominic have been a part of that network forever. Okay, everyone knows who these neocons are. Who want to keep Americans drummed up, go to war. These people who can't fight the wars, they cry when someone points out accurately that they're clinically obese. They can't fight the wars, but your sons and daughters better fight the wars, guys. God forbid you have a person on a platform telling you, no, this is stupid. We don't need to be involved in Bibi Netanyahu's Middle East BS and expansion policies. Okay, they don't have the people, so they want.
Yep. Okay, I have, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Okay, first of all, Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, has a tattoo that reads kafir in Arabic. And for those of you who don't know, Arabic, kafir, is widely understood to mean heretic among Arab-speaking Christians and Muslims. Because remember, Muslims speak Arabic as well. So, Allah is Arabic for God. So when people say, oh, Allah's not the same God as Jehovah, Allah's not the same God as Yahweh or Yah, it's the same God. He is the same God. Okay. So anyway, dude got heretic on his stuff. And people are thinking, oh, yeah, so good. Kafir, non-believer or non-Muslim is what they're trying to say. But it's Arabic. So it doesn't matter. It non-believer is non-believer in Arabic. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about Muslim. Muslim's not connected to Arabic. Okay. Christians speak Arabic as well. Some Jews speak Arabic. Okay. Kafir just means heretic. That's all it means. And he's saying he's a heretic, which he really is. He's a supporter of Satan. He doesn't even know it, but he's a supporter of, well, maybe he does. Okay. Okay, I got so much to say. Let's start off with this. So Gal Gadot, man, her ass got, man, that movie Snow White got boycotted because of her. And just in case you guys don't believe me on that, I'm going to show you. I am going to show you. I'm going to show you. Producer wants to go in on Rachel Ziegler. Rachel Ziegler didn't do anything wrong. Yes, she's a little bit pompous and all of that, but that's not the reason why her movie flopped. No. And we will not buy into that bullshit. Let's see if we can find it here somewhere. Oh, man, I have so much I want to say. Oh, Jimmy Dore. Shout out to Jimmy Dore. Covering what I just told you about the military bases all over the world and its particular areas. You can read more about that. Hold on a second. I'm going to get it. Oh, here it is. So here's the poll. Why is Snow White flopping? Gal Gadot, I am Israel Chai. 87% of 3,671 votes. It's not because of Rachel Ziegler. That's your favorite guy doing the poll. I got more for you. Oh, yeah, this is what I wanted to go into. Tolkien. Talking about Tolkien and how he hated Disney. I'll talk about that. I hate Disney, too, and I know why. It was articulated really well. The Culturist. Hold on a second. Before we go to Tolkien. You telling me I don't have that other thing? Boy. There's a lot more I want to do. I think I'll have to do a part 2, okay? Snow White flopped because Gal Gadot is an Israeli terrorist. Disney wants to blame Rachel Ziegler. There you go. So producer of Rachel Ziegler, he went in on Rachel Ziegler. But quite frankly, I couldn't give a flying fuck what he said. Because I'll tell you this. The facts don't change. In fact, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you what people actually said. Oh, I love this. The White House account posts me mocking migrant woman being apprehended by ICE. So now they're mucking that. So they're trying to be flagrant in front of it, but they don't understand. Every time you do something like that, I'm just going to put the Hein Rajab Association, I'm going to mark it as a war crime. And your intention to do what you're doing, hey, listen, we're coming for you. You think you want to get away with this shit? Fuck no. We're coming for you. Anyways, hold on a second here. Let me see if we can find this. So after the actors some of the actors in the Actors Guild, sent a letter to the Academy shaming them for not saying anything about their Oscar winner being put incarcerated. Remember yesterday I talked about that. And beaten. They came out with an apology. Okay? They came out with an apology. Well, who cares, right? 70%, this is something now that has to do with inside of Israel. 70% of Israelis say they don't trust Netanyahu's government, while 69% support a deal to release all hostages in exchange for ending the war in Gaza. Hebrew Channel 12. And there it is right there. You get all the data in front of you. So there's something going on inside of Israel. In fact, Netanyahu made a post and an Israeli responded to him by saying, you want to keep forever wars going on. So inside of Israel, even within Israel, they're not cohesive. But I'll tell you something. Remember, I shared with you guys a video where it says order is in chaos. These Masonic people, they like to have chaos so that people would beg for order. For example, crime waves and stuff, so that they could pass more draconian legislation. That's what they want to do. This COVID thing, order and chaos. They wanted everybody in the world to conform to what they had as their solution and get everybody vaccinated. That was the key here. But we were able to beat them back. All right, I don't have much more I can do right now because there's so much to go through. This ridiculousness that's happening with Abdi and DeLuca, where they want to get rid of Abdi and DeLuca because of 3 flops that they had, and put in place Safran, who has had a myriad of flops and hundreds of millions of dollars lost. But I'll tell you what's going on. I think David Zaslav is trying to push in place these MCU people so that Disney can take over DC and even take over Warner Brothers. They're trying to put Safran over all of Warner Brothers, which is bullshit. But the ship is falling. And quite frankly, if I was Abdi and DeLuca, I'd get out of it myself and go somewhere else. I think they do better in Universal, like I said before. Universal is also a Zionist is at the top of it, a Jewish Zionist, but that's what you need to do. So we'll see. I don't know. Safran of late hasn't had anything but flops, so I don't know. The only thing that might succeed with Safran is The Conjuring that he's producing, but we'll see. I don't know. All right, so this was the abduction of Renisa Utsturk, right? And the thing about this that is sickening is these people were all wearing masks, and on top of that, they abducted her, and they tried to hide her in some disclosed location down in Louisiana. So they took her out of D.C., and they escorted her down to Louisiana. So these people are not people who have been deported out of the country. Now, the people they deported out of the country into San Salvador, one of them is a barber. He's not even a criminal. He's a barber. And so this is kind of crazy shit that they're doing. They're trying to put people in concentration camps and torture them, pretty much. And they're trying to intimidate people, but that bullshit ain't gonna fly in this world today. Fuck you. And fuck your mobster mentality. We're coming for you. They don't understand. They don't get it, right? They don't get it. They don't get that don't do shit to nobody these days. That only gets people more amped up and more pumped up to go after their ass, to hunt them down and to get justice. Because we're not them. We're not barbarous assholes. Okay? We'll use due process to get your ass. But when we get your ass, we're going to get your ass. We're going to get you good. And that's what they don't understand. They think they're the only ones They think it's a one-way street. They think we can't do them nothing. We can't do them shit. We're gonna just take it up the ass and just sit back. Fuck no. Nobody's sitting back and taking it up the ass. Nobody. You could do that to Palestinians in Palestine right now, but the tables will turn. And we're coming for you. You think I was playing? We outnumber you. Orders of magnitude, we outnumber you. And there are at least 4 billion of us to what? A couple million? Are you? Fuck you. We're coming for you. It's a numbers game. And there's no love. We got no love for you. None. And we can do without you. We will exist and everything will be fine without you. We don't need you. You need us. We don't need you. So you're trying to flaunt like your power. You think you have some kind of fucking power. You have no power. We have all the fucking power. The way how you have ruled is through divide and conquer. You've played with our minds. But this is the age of fucking Aquarius, motherfucker. You're in the wrong age. Them games don't work no more. Those games don't work no more. You're fucked. And you know it. And the empire's about to fall. But Babylon is falling, they say. Yeah. But we know something will rise up after that will be worse. Because we know you're working hard on the tech. We know what it is. We know. You want to replace us with machines. But before that happens, your ass is going to be put into, we're going to punish you before that happens. Because you're too evil, you're too wicked. The people will win. Restore the Snyderverse will happen. And we will see Palestine, not only Palestine free, we're going to see Africa free. And we're going to have our moment in the sun before you bust our ass open and destroy us. But before that, we're going to have our moment in the sun. We're going to have this victory. This one's going to go down to us. You not winning this one. We'll make sure you don't win this one. George Galloway. A sincere question to MAGA and Trump supporters. How do you think the treatment of this girl, Turkish green card holder at Turks, affects U.S. standing in the world? Turkey, your NATO ally. You all know, it doesn't matter, man. Erdogan don't give a fuck, man. He in the same club, George Galloway. They're all a fraternity. These leaders, they're all bought and paid for. You think Erdogan cares about a young lady in a university? He don't give a fuck about her. Didn't you listen to Michael Jackson? He told y'all they don't care about us. We got to care about ourselves, and we mustn't care about them. It's time we take them down. It's time we start being serious. Stop fucking around with each other. Come together and take them down. They're no match for us. We have all the manpower. We have all the labor, all the mercenaries, all the military might. We are that. Why do we even take instructions from them? Because we gave them that authority. We gave them that power. They can't do shit without us. We are the ones to carry out those things. The ICE agents are people just like you and me. If they turn against the government and start doing the same thing they're doing to these protesters, they're fucked. They can't stop us. It's just mentally, they got us right now. Mentally, they've tricked a lot of us into working for them. They've conned all of us like the devil does, the deceiver that he is. And when we fucking wake up from that, it's going to be problems. And half of us are already waking up from it globally. We need the other half to wake the fuck up. And it's going to happen. Because they're not, everywhere they turn, they're going to see the truth. They're going to see the shit exposed. They will have no choice but to conform. The overwhelming evidence is going to be compiled on them. They'll have no choice but to conform. And those who want to play party lines and shut their brains off, guess what? We'll come for you too. We're coming for you. But you will not be treated to the extent that these other people who knowingly do what they do will be treated. And when I say I'm coming from, we're not talking about mobster. We due process. We're going to use the due process. Russia and China are on board. Russia, China, Iran, Yemen, South Africa, Brazil. They're trying to replace governments, but it's not going to happen. Venezuela's on board. Barbados is on board. And I could go on and on and on. The 146 countries that are on board out of 200 countries. Ireland's on board. Spain's on board. The leadership of France is on board, and the people. The media is not covering this because the media is trying to contain this issue. You guys need to show how big and broad and worldwide this shit is going on, week after week, day after day. The average Joe knows who he supports. And once he's not being checked, he doesn't think that he's going to be victimized, he's going straight up. It's Palestine I support. The average Joe is going to say it's Palestine I support. Everybody thinks what's going on is a travesty. They just don't know what to do about it. Even politicians in Congress, behind closed doors, they'll say it's a travesty what's going on. They just compromise so much, and they spineless motherfuckers that they don't know what to do about it. You got one or two that speak out about it because they're not compromised. So everybody knows what's up. Everybody knows what's up. It's very obvious. So what do we do about it? As I said before, take back your power. These people may seem many seas away, but because of what Hamas did on October 7th, which was, by the way, a false flag operation. You remember, Israel said this is their second 9/11. Guess what? Their first 9/11 was what? That's right, in New York, 2001. Who do you think did the controlled demolitions of the towers? That's right, Israeli people. They planted the explosives. That's what they do. They plant explosives. They like to blow up shit. You think that Tesla truck that got blown up in front of Trump Towers was done by Israelis, motherfucker. It wasn't the Ukrainians, it was the Israelis. They like to blow shit up. Second 9/11 false flag operation was October 7th, 2023. That's why they didn't respond. They wanted some reason to clear out Gaza. Everybody thought it was fishy. It took a long time to respond. Think about this. ISIS, aka Al-Qaeda, is now in charge of Syria. This is the same ISIS they said that launched the planes into the Twin Towers, right? This is the same ISIS that America supposedly was fighting in Syria, right? They're supposedly the ones that crashed the planes into towers, and somehow miraculously the towers just crumbled down to the ground, right? That makes no fucking sense. You don't have a building with a frame, and the frame just crumbles and melts off. And how we all know this? They gave it away. Building number 7 fell right into its footprint, just like the 2 Twin Towers. You guys wanted to always know why. Everybody saw it. Everybody saw it in plain sight. I remember I was a school teacher when the two towers fell, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And the towers fell what? Half an hour to an hour after, and they fell mostly into their footprints. These are big, buildings. Come on, man. Control fucking demolition, man. Let's stop being assholes out here. Ain't no other way to put it. And for that to happen, clearly, the government was in on it. George Bush was in on it. All of them. These fuckers. They fought a war against Iraq that they shouldn't have fought. Iraq had nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with the towers falling. But because Netanyahu said he named Iraq as the major culprit, they went after Iraq. That's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with fucking clowns out here. People who feel they can move chest knobs anywhere, do whatever the fuck they want. You know what? They remind me of Bob Arum in boxing. Fuck Bob Arum. I said that before. I don't see Bob Arum really talking a lot. Everybody references Bob Arum. Fuck Bob Arum. He's the one that actually sort of eventually got some dirt on what's his name? Don King. He point the finger at Don King. Look at Don King. He's a terrible person. He's this, he's that, he's the other. Man, he's fucking everybody just like Don King was. Giving them slave contracts. Don King at least was making millionaires. Not to say that Bob Arum wasn't. But he's the one that turned the media on Don King. And he always laughed because he can manipulate the media. He's the one that tried to defame Floyd Mayweather. But Floyd Mayweather's an ass. He's trying to support Israel. Man, fuck you, Floyd. I don't care how many Jewish friends you had that made you rich. Murdering and having genocide of so many different people, you can have loyalty as much as you want. You an ass. And I'll say it to your face. Fuck you. Great boxer. But an asshole. It's raining right now, so I'm going to go into this a little bit more here. Listen to the reason she revoked, this lady gives, U.S. State Department spokesman gives for revoking visas.
Essentially. But that we'll revoke the visas of whoever it is that fits within the category of what it is we're deciding is going to get your visa revoked, which is illegal activity, essentially. I do know that from our own conversations here, that, here we go, the department, I can say this specifically, revokes visas every day in order to secure America's borders and keep our communities safe, and will continue to do so. Because the process is ongoing, the number of revocations, as I've noted, is dynamic, and the department generally does not provide statistics on visa revocations, and generally we were not going to add anything at this time, but clearly this is a process that we're committed to and is part of making America safe again. It's within our right, it's within the right of every sovereign nation to make a determination who will.
She's she's stuttering and stammering like a clown because she knows she ain't got no grounds to talk anything about anybody's visas being revoked. And no government can just arbitrarily revoke a visa for no reason at all. They have to give a reason. So, because you have to give a reason why this person needs to be removed. And if somebody contests it in the courts and the courts rules against you, which they have, can't do shit. So, she's she can as much as she wants and search and find. She knows she's not standing on anything that's the foundation. That's why she's trying to find an answer, because she's like, how do I spin this shit? There's no way to spin it, and everybody's on you. Everybody's watching at you, and you don't understand. You don't understand. The MAGA people are watching at you funny right now because you're doing Israel's bidding. You're doing Israel's bidding. You're trying to terrorize people who protest against Israel. It has nothing to do with America, except that they're using Americans' tax dollars to do it, which was the intention of income tax. Okay, income tax was raised to do wars. Most Americans don't know that, but most Americans don't want to be affiliated with that war. They don't want anything to do with it. And so she's because she knows her base is listening to her very, very well. They're listening to Donald Trump. Already, some of that base is already faded off and it's like, fuck Trump. They're already in that fuck Trump category. And some of them already sharpening their axes and sharpening their guns, looking to overthrow the federal government as we speak. They're ready to take action. So she can, and you know, that stupid asshole called Mr. Marco Rubio, who Trump put in charge, that's going to be the end of Marco Rubio very soon. He's going to get destroyed. Donald is distancing himself from Marco Rubio. He's like, he going. It's going to be a sink and swim moment, and it looks like he's going to go under. Donald's smart enough to understand that. The tariffs idea that Donald had was a horrible one. This is not helping the situation. So far, the fuck ups outperform the successes. Shutting down USA Aid, it was a brilliant thing. It's a good thing. I'm not gonna lie. The TikTok thing was a good thing. The ceasefire in Gaza was a good thing. Everybody was like, this guy could be it. This guy's the dude. So I have a lot more I wanted to share with you guys, but I'm not going to be able to do it right now. I have to get out of here. So I will see you guys later. I just want to say I know for a fact now that JFK and RFK and JFK Jr., I understand why they were assassinated. And there's absolutely, there's a whole thing on that. And you can check my stream on Twitter for that information. Zack Snyder was right. Our heroes, people we thought were heroes. They corrupt schemers, man. A lot of the people you look up to. That's why you have to teach your children. And this is why I want to
stay in this country.
If you
out in this country, and the secretary
apply for a visa to enter the United States and be a student.
This is why I want to. These are the actors, by the way, signed an open letter condemning the Academy's lack of public support for the Palestinian filmmaker Hamdan Balal. Shout out to them, man. Mark Ruffalo, Olivia Colman, Joaquin Phoenix, Riz Ahmed, Penelope Cruz, Emma Thompson. By the way, a lot of these guys are Jewish. Natasha Lyonne, Javier Bardem, Sandra Hüller, Richard Gere, Boots Riley, Susan Sarandon. Susan's a warrior. You know, she be there. Ava DuVernay, who's a black person. Alfonso Cuarón, Boots Riley, Todd Waynes, Adam McKay, Jonathan Glazer, and Jim Jarmusch. And I know Ray Fisher would totally be siding with that as well. So, long and short of it is, there's a lot of people in Hollywood as well who don't like what's going on. And as you know, Hollywood has a lot of Jewish people in there, right? But, you know, there's a lot of Jewish people who don't side with this. A lot of Jewish people. What people don't know is, see, the Jewish Zionists were never popular. They worked some propaganda since World War I. They've been working propaganda to convince people to walk in this way. They even started teaching people the Jew Zionism. It wasn't a very popular thing. And now looking at the ugly underbelly of this white supremacist Zionism, which it's white supremacy basically. I don't think a lot of people are on board with that. So you're getting this complete turn away by Jewish people from Zionism. And a lot of people are joining anti-Zionist movements worldwide. And this would not have happened if October 7th didn't happen. This just would not have happened. Right? The other big, this is the biggest it's ever been. Before this, in 2014, the March of Return, what happened there under Barack Obama, there was a lot of protests. People took to the streets and stuff as well. But this one's just epic. They're trying to finish the job. Trump is trying to get them to finish the job. And everybody's seeing it. And I don't care who you are. You could be a Zionist Jew. You know, you don't know better. You know, you grew up with your stomach and everything starting to turn. And I've even seen Jews in Israel. I've been watching at Hamza, and you know, he interviews these Jews, and they're speechless. They can't really answer him. Those that have consciences, usually they're in Tel Aviv. I know my friends in Israel, their stomach is probably turning right now, and they're probably wanting to vomit every time they think about this situation. I know of Jewish people also who have been actively working along with the Palestinians to try to protect them, etc. You know, there's you know, the breaking the silence soldiers. There's the Jewish people who started reading the books by Mape and Company Limited, and they've broken free of that matrix that they were in. And so it's going to cause a more even bigger awakening. And even the kids, you listen to them, they'll say one thing, but really in their hearts they feel a different way. And so the walls in Israel have been broken down. And then the thing about it was, you know, before all of this, after the March of No Return, there was these, you know, co-Israel Palestinian initiatives in schools where, you know, Palestinian kids would talk with Israeli kids, and there was this rapport between them. And then there was this, again, rapport between Palestinians and Israelis, families that would talk to each other. And then, of course, there's the, you know, the family also links between some of the Israelis there and some of the Palestinians in Palestine, that they're actually related. They're cousins, and some of them are brothers and half sisters and stuff like that. So that alone shows you that the people should be one. And they're either one nation or they have two different states, but people could freely move between the states and talk to each other. The only reason why this thing is so horrible is because of the brutalization of the Palestinians. If these Palestinians were not brutalized, but that's the way how these Jews want to run the world. These specific so-called Jews, these satanic people. And the same way they're trying to run America right now through the proxy, which is, I know this sounds weird, but the proxy is Donald Trump and his regime. They're the proxy to Israel. It's not the other way around. It's not America is running Israel. No, Israel's running America. That's how it's going right now. They've been able to invade, and they're running the UK. They've been running Hollywood, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's why they're trying to. They've been trying very maliciously to blacklist Zack Snyder. Okay, and if Zack Snyder doesn't know that, yes, I'm sure he does. They've been trying to blacklist him because he would produce these stories that have relevance to what's happening right now. And it's not just him; it's Ray Fisher. It's you know, anybody whose message doesn't fit into the CIA Mossad narrative. Okay, so I want to show you one more thing. and then I'm gone. Here is Escobar praising the Houthis. He was
you now.
So he was over this week here, he was in Yemen praising them. And look how much people turned out in Yemen, and their numbers, again, the numbers really speak to the thing. Yes, Pepe Escobar, who's been interviewed on several different YouTube channels and stuff. He was basically honored to be with them, saying that they're so brave to take on the Western Empire like that, which is really great. It was a 1,000,000-man march in Sana. So it's pretty crazy. All right, so it's not, you can't say it's the Muslim community, you can't say it's the pro-Hamas community, because there's no Hamas in the West Bank, ladies and gentlemen. There's no Hamas in Yemen. There's no Hamas in Lebanon. There's no Hamas in Syria. There's no Hamas in Iraq. And we see oppressed people, we've seen countries be destroyed by these people, and that's what we're speaking on. You know, Hamas just happens to coincidentally be part of an equation, but, you know, it's not an integral part of the thing. Okay. So I just want to show you this last thing here, and then I'm definitely going to end the stream. Hey, by the way, they're counting 2. I'm looking forward to that. Oh, they're talking about Iran with nuclear. I told y'all don't listen. Iran already has nuclear weapons. I'm telling you right now, if America attacks Iran and Israel, fuck around and find out. We all know Russia has nuclear weapons. We all know China has nuclear weapons. Russia backs Iran. China's backing Iran. There's no fucking way in hell the United States is that stupid to go attack Iran. You have 2 nuclear powers with mass stockpiles of nuclear weapons, tremendous populations who are backing Iran. And Russia's already, it's too late. Iran already is nucleared up. It has nuclear weapons, period. No matter what people say, they'll try to convince you one way or the other. It has nuclear weapons. So the question is it's not an if or but if Iran has nuclear weapons. I don't care what anybody in Iran says. They have nuclear weapons. And I'm just saying, if you fuck around, Iran will make you find out just what's up. And trust me, they make precision striking missiles with multiple heads. So you gonna fuck around with Iran, you really gonna, that whole Middle East area is going to be a death zone. You will not be able to find Israel on the map. It will be obliterated off the map. Okay? Don't fuck with Iran. But if you want war, you're a warmonger, fine. Just know that entire Middle East area is going to be rearranged. And the only country that will remain standing in that Middle East will not be Syria. It won't be Israel. It might be Egypt. But I'm telling you right now, parts of Iraq is going to be destroyed, completely obliterated. Jordan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, all those countries are going to get obliterated because Iran's going to send out a whole plethora of nuclear weapons with warheads, pinpoint accurate, strike certain areas, but it will detonate the whole area. And it will wipe out a lot of stuff. Israel will obviously be one of the first targets to be wiped out. So I don't think it's a good idea to attack Iran. Not to mention, they're right on the edge of the Gulf where all of these industries are to cause immense pollution of the Gulf. Wreck everybody's career. Wreck everybody's lives. But maybe that's what the U.S. wants, so they can have hegemony. The only problem is That will turn into a third world war. And the first person to get struck will be Israel. Iran's going to wipe them off the map. All right. I'm just saying. All right. It's just not a good idea. And they do have nuclear weapons. I don't care what anybody says. I know. You can't bullshit me. Okay. Remember I was talking about Batman saving and protecting defenseless people? I wanted to show you about Tolkien and why he doesn't like Disney. And it's the same reason I don't like Disney. If I could find it somewhere here. I don't think I have it here. I just see it already. Yeah, this is it here. So, one of the aspects of what Tolkien used to do was the spirituality through the culture and the sort of metaphors for spiritual things. And this priest breaks down Snow White, for example. But I want to just, let me see, maybe I can come here. Yeah. I want to just go through this very briefly and very quickly, okay? Reminder, Tolkien hated Disney. He called them hopelessly corrupted and knew they'd ruin any story they touched. Why? Tolkien's storytelling philosophy was profoundly different. This is a thread, so here we go. The Hobbit was published a few months before Snow White came out in 1937. Tolkien watched it with his friend C.S. Lewis and later insisted that Disney never adapt his own works. Tolkien dedicated his life to the study and creation of myths and what he called fairy stories. For him, age-old tales like Beowulf weren't just entertainment, but vehicles of profound truth emerged from cultural soil over generations. If you do remember my stream where I was talking to you guys about what Shannon said, General Zod said about Man of Steel. He said it's not just for entertainment, it's culturally relevant. Well, this is the same thing we're seeing here. And this is the thing that I think I like about movies, where you can take, and this is the thing that little children need to know. They need to be taught lessons. So anyway, for him, age-old tales like Beowulf weren't just entertainment, but vehicles of profound truth emerged from cultural soil over generations. So over generation to generation, they were able to tell these lessons and pass it on to children. That's why fairy tales are so important. This is Beowulf here. Okay, let's keep it moving. Disney took folklore material, stripped it of its spiritual depth, commercializing what Tolkien deemed essentially sacrosanct. But how? Here's Snow White. This is Snow White from the Fables, and this is Snow White here. Notice the difference. All right. Let's keep it moving. Take Snow White. In Brothers Grimm original 1812 story, Snow White flees into the forest, bargains, and works to earn her shelter. In Disney's version, she simply sings to animals and waits to be rescued. Right? It was a dangerous environment. The stakes. I always talk about stakes. And in the actual story, in the actual fairy tale of the Brothers Grimm did, Snow White has to negotiate to get her shelter. Okay? It's a dangerous environment, and she has to work into getting that. Throughout, danger, violence, and ambiguity were erased, replaced by a tale designed to comfort children, not warn them. That's what fairy tales used to be. Fairy tales used to teach you lessons. Aesop fables is another thing. Teach you lessons about life, how to navigate it. Instead of Grimm's brutal justice delivered to the queen, forced to dance in red-hot iron shoes until she dies, the story ends with a kiss. Tolkien loathed sugar-coated storytelling like this and kept the rough edges in his own works. The Hobbit was written for his children, but it contains anger, hardship, horror, evil, and death. It's very important because life is dangerous, and it will teach kids lessons. As G.K. Chesterton once said, fairy tales do not tell children that dragons exist. Children already know that dragons exist. Fairy tales tell children that dragons can be killed. And this is important for us to know how empowerment. We're dealing with the dragon right now. The dragon is the synagogue of Satan, right? All these Freemasons, these secret order occultists, and they go by different names, Illuminati, Zionists, whatever. But it's not just about, okay, they exist. We know they exist now, right? It's about how to handle that situation, how to overcome it, how to slay the dragon. Disneyfication also deprives stories of spiritual weight. A lot of times we talk about the spiritual element of Zack Snyder's Justice League. And there it is. Grimm's original lost its deeper symbols of renewal, death, and resurrection. And that's something that Zack Snyder did with Man of Steel, right? With Superman. You have his birth, death, and resurrection. The story of Jesus Christ. Joseph Campbell's telling of myths, telling of stories, telling of adventures. And Disney's bumbling dwarfs lack the depth of Norse tradition, craftsmen of the mountains with deep spiritual ties to the land. I always talk about the bond between people and the land, which has been lost in the Western world because we've concretized everything. We remove the trees. We don't treat the land well. If you're a farmer, you're going to have to treat the land well. But even the farming today, the modern farming, we lace the land with a whole set of chemicals. We chemicalize the trees so that it kills not only the animals that eat the trees, but it kills us as well. God already cursed the ground. Why do we need to curse it more? But that's what we do. Because we don't care. Everything's now about the bottom line, the dollar. That commercialization, that's a Jewish thing by these, not Jewish and Jews, but the apostate Jews, the Jews that do not practice Judaism. They only do it in word, but not in deed. These people have learned how to monetize everything, turn people against people and get that for wealth. That's the evils that we deal with. So this is the dwarfs in the Nordic version. And here are the dwarfs from the Disneyfied version. And that's what Disneyfying DC. DC used to keep with the traditional mythos. They follow Tolkien's model. And now you are wanting to take it and and follow it by Disney's model. And Disney was a Jew, by the way. And what did he do? He tried to again, be sacrilegious. He's trying to, if you look at what these people have done, is they've tried to remove the spirituality out of things, and they alone keep spirituality. And any kind of spirituality that they go to, it goes to a demonic kind of way. It's always demonic. It's about LGBTQ. It's always some kind of strident, off the balance sort of thing. Why were fairy stories and myths so sacred to Tolkien? Because he knew that myths are not lies. You remember I told you guys this? Now I'm actually reading it and realizing, but the precise opposite. Myths convey the essential truths, the primary reality of life itself. This is how we can ask questions of ourselves. This is how we can look introvertly at ourselves, collectively and as individuals. He saw the great man-made myths through history as fragments of divine truth. We have come from God, and inevitably the myths woven by us, though they contain error, will also reflect a splintered fragment of the true light, the eternal truth that is with God. Bam! I couldn't say better. And this guy came long before me. And that's how I felt about it. And even though I intuitively knew this and I vocalized it, there it is from Tolkien. And of course, the Chronicles of Narnia, the imagery, the metaphors, and all of that. Yeah. Similarities among ancient myths arose because they were all pointing at the same truth, thought Tolkien. Then one myth rarely came true at a tangible moment in history. The true myth that we are all living inside, which is Jesus Christ, his birth, death, resurrection. He's a Christian. So what I'm trying to tell you is he despised Walt Disney because Walt Disney was going the line of what we would call the pagans or what we would call Wicca. And when you see Josh Whedon's version to Zack Snyder's version, it's so inferior because Zack Snyder is actually holding fast to a truth about ourselves. He's elucidating a truth about ourselves. And this is what children need to see. Children need to understand this. If you don't have a spiritual connection, I'm not saying that these people don't have a spiritual connection. There's spiritual connections to the devil. But I am saying they try to push atheism and all these things, all these other isms, because they don't want people connected spiritually. Spiritual awareness makes you open up your eyes and see things beyond what they are. And then you can't lie to them anymore. See, there's an aspect of the humanity that is our spirituality. And our spirituality, when we open that third eye, as we call it, now you are aware of things. Like I was aware of this stuff that Zack Snyder was doing, and I vocalized it. And then I realized a guy decades and decades and decades before my time also realized the same thing. You see, spiritual connection. Shout out to William Ruffin. I saw him like one of my stuff. And William always really appreciated the fact that I would come from a spiritual perspective. Some people would be turned away from my stuff, but it's a spiritual connection. It's the spiritual values that is most important. It's the invisible things. And that's what I love about this. Tolkien being a Christian proponent, a Christian, it makes sense why he would speak these things. And I just think it's so awesome that, he centered around that. And, again, Zach was a Christian scientist. And Christian scientists, they used to pray. They didn't believe you needed to, everything could be done through prayer. And by praying, you could heal people. By praying, you could, change situations, whatever it is. So that's where Zach came from. And this is why he's Christocentric themes. Even in Twilight of the Gods, we saw Jesus Christ again as the center theme coming down to the end of the movie, right? Replacing the god, the Nordic god, Thor's father. I forgot what his name is. Odin. Odin's being replaced by Jesus Christ, right? And I just love that. Zach always uses that Christian iconography. And I don't know if Zach is still Christian or what. I don't know what he is, but he seems to always keep those motives there. He doesn't always straightforwardly admit that he's unapologetically Christian about it. Another person who's really interesting is Mel Gibson. He's supposed to be doing the resurrection. So he's and all I'm saying is Mel knows what's going on. He knows what's going on in the world with this group of people, this cabal of people, who practice Kabbalah, who worship Molech. So more than mere fiction, Tolkien's myths were designed to be lived in a deeper level of imagination. That's just the imagination, my friend. A deeper level of spirituality. A deeper dive into the spirit realm. With virtues. To teach you virtues and to teach you ways to deal with your fellow men and your environment and to live in harmony with it. See, what a lot of people don't realize is you always go back to what the native peoples have been doing in the area. You always go back to that. The simplicity of it. I have so much to say, but I don't have the time. So I'm going to have to wrap this up. He saw fantasy world building as a kind of sub-creation mirroring God's creation. Not something to be cheapened or commercialized. That's why friggin' Zack Snyder could do what he does. He's a follower of Joseph Campbell. And Joseph Campbell, by the way, was a follower of Mr. Tolkien. All right. I'm going to stop it right there. God bless you all, guys. I hope this deep dive or this dive or whatever it was, you guys stuck around for it. I don't know if you did. But if you did, God bless you. I hope this helped to sort of open your eyes to what's happening in the world. And don't try to play sides. Look for truth. I'll see you guys later. Peace.